For my movie, I have chosen to do The Notebook. I feel like The Notebook presents a lot of relationship theories, such as intimate relationship, such as the pyramid, due to Noah's circumstances as a less fortunate person than Allie. So, background story on The Notebook, if you have not seen it, it's a story about Noah and Allie. Noah falls in love with Allie the second that he sees her at a summer parade. He tries to woo her, and eventually they share a very passionate being the key word, romance. They spend the summer together, and although they get at each other's throats often, they share a very common goal, which is just to love each other. Basically, as the story unfolds, they have to separate because, as mentioned, Allie is more fortunate than Noah, and back in the day that was very important. How are you going to provide for your significant other as a man? So Allie's parents decided that Noah was not adequate to sustain Allie and her lifestyle, so Allie is forced to leave Noah and eventually finds a new fiance. Once she finds this fiance, she sees on the newspaper that Noah has reconstructed the house in which they both lost their virginity, and has reconstructed it into her dream house as promised earlier in the movie. So she faints and decides to go visit Noah. When she visits Noah, the conflict really starts. That is like the meaty part of the plot. It is when they sleep together, and she has the conflict of having a fiance now, but also having really strong feelings, passionate feelings for Noah. So one of the main theories that applies to this is that of conflict, but also like relationship in whole. As an intimate relationship, there can be expectations. So the scene that I'm focusing on the most is a part where Noah is yelling at Allie, and he violently closes the door to her car. He does not want to let her leave. They are not sharing a common goal. The goal for Noah is to have her stay. The goal for Allie is to go back to her fiance, but he yells at her and he says, "What do you want?" He looks her straight in the eye and said, "What do you want, woman?" At that point, I feel like ego has completely left the building. It's a thing that we covered in our presentation called ego conflict. Ego conflict was not present because all Noah wanted to do was to meet the needs of the person in front of him. And that is one way that they were able to solve it, was that he left the choice completely up to her. He says, "I can lose you again if I thought that's what you really wanted. I've done it before and I'll do it again. But where do you see yourself 5, 10 years from now?" And that's when Allie cries and she says, "I don't know, because there is no compromise." That's not a way that they're going to resolve that, through compromise, because she can't marry her fiance and stay with Noah. So the biggest issue is presented when she just says I don't know, because either way it's a lose-lose situation. If she stays with Noah, he loses. If she stays with, or it's win-lose, I guess, right? Because one would win, the other would lose. The scene cuts to Allie choosing Noah. She's got her bags packed and she's staying in front of him. But at first there was a disagreement in defining the relationship, which is something I read about in the book, which can really present a conflict, period, in general, because if you have a problem defining the relationship between somebody, then all sorts of conflict can come from that, because nobody is in the right page or the same page as the other, which is really key to maintaining harmony and balance in relationships. As mentioned in one of the presentations, relationships are key because they help us stay whole and warm. It's key to survival. Human beings aren't meant to be alone. It's actually funny because when Noah is alone, he has sexual relations with another partner, but it's not intimate. And he actually sits her down and he says, "Look, I can't give you what you want." They also had a conflict in defining their relationship because she was just his sexual person and she wanted something more than that, but he couldn't give himself to her because of Allie. And he still really missed Allie. So, also, there was a misinterpretation of each other's intent. At first, Allie is like, "Why would you build that house? Like, what were you trying to do?" And he built that house with the intent of, excuse me, fulfilling, excuse me, fulfilling the prophecy or fulfilling his promise that he had guaranteed her. So the solutions that were applied to this were that of heart. One of the biggest key things I took out of this class is that ego cannot be present if you are choosing to find common ground with a person that means a lot to you. And that's what Noah and Allie were able to do at the end, was they found the love for each other much stronger than anything that was standing in the way of that or impairing their vision of each other's love. This is super substantial to real life because, especially my generation, real love, true love is super hard to come by. It's actually very rare. We are living in an age where I could easily, as mentioned in one of the presentations, pull up my phone and boom, I have Tinder, or I have a date, or I have some. So it makes the person in front of you disposable, and it makes conflict easier to solve through another theory, which is avoidance. You just avoid it altogether, and you escapism. You just walk away completely. So it's really vital, movies like this, because although they are really romantic and a little cheesy, it kind of can show what a potential relationship could look like between somebody, and you don't have to settle for a Tinder date that you kind of like that is talking to someone else. I'm telling you right now that it gets really complicated dating as a millennial. Like, like really complicated. And a movie like The Notebook and how they solve the conflict, like they get really even violent with each other. She slaps him, she kicks his car when they fight, but at the end of it, the end goal is to keep each other happy and keep each other close. There might even be a little bit of a codependency there, but the codependency is skipped over because they were able to find other significant others. But at the end of the day, like, true love, stem love is what it really was. So all of that could be very effective in today's society. And something that I learned from The Notebook and from this class is, like I mentioned, ego. It's got to go at the bottom if you want to get to that pyramid that was mentioned in one of the presentations, the pyramid of needs. If you want to get to that tippy top and find fulfillment, there's a lot of self reflection and reflection of others that you have to do, and you really have to evaluate what your relationships mean to you. And that is my film assignment.